I was going through one of my clients' ads accounts because I like to do an audit every now and then, make sure that we're hitting KPI, make sure that we're spending and that we're earning enough and that everything's looking like it should. So, this is a client of mine that has been running these ads since November. And we started out with a larger budget, and now we've been able to taper it down into a smaller budget. And I wanted to make this video because I think so many business owners think that they need to spend hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of dollars on their ads per month. But that's really not the case if you build it out correctly. There is an ecosystem, there is a structure, and there is infrastructure that you need to have in place for you to be able to spend less money. And I think a lot of business owners miss that part. And that's just because the way that Meta Ads is built out and a lot of these other ad platforms, it really doesn't do a good job of showing that there's different tools and different use cases within there that gives the owner or the person running the ads a lot of leverage with the platform. And that is not always an obvious thing when you're a new user and you don't really know what you're doing. It can be really confusing in the ad manager. So take it from somebody that learned the hard way. So I wanted to show you guys, this is a client of mine. She's been running her ads since November. And I was really just looking year to date. So from January till we're about mid-May right now. And she's spending $7 per day. Now that is $7 per day for her entire campaign, okay? And she is signing up people left and right using these ads. And the reason that it works is something that I'm going to get into in just a minute. But $7 a day, that's roughly a dollar per ad. And she's acquiring a customer at about $24 per $24. Every $24, she gets another customer. And with a business like hers, as a membership, it's a fitness studio. With that, you get LTV. You get a lifetime customer that is valuable over the course of months. So when you have a membership, if your membership is $100 a month and the average length of time that somebody stays a member is a year or two or three, they might turn into $1,200. They might turn into $2,400 over 2 years, plus upsells in between. So when you think about it from a ROAS standpoint, if you're spending $24 to acquire a customer and you're turning that into a year-long membership where they're spending $1,200 at the end of the year or more, then you can see how that multiplies really easily. So how does this work? Well, we do it with a structure, and really an ecosystem is super important when it comes down to this because you need to position yourself in the correct way. How do we do that? Well, I use something called Power Content that literally is there to gather interest on the topic. This is content that doesn't have a call to action, doesn't have anything flashy to it. It is literally just the business owner typically talking about their business, trying to solve a problem, trying to get somebody to technically raise their hand. And by raising their hand, how do we measure that? Well, we're measuring that by how many comments people drop, we're measuring it by DMs if people are messaging you, and most importantly, we're measuring that with watch time. Because with the Andromeda update and how most of these platforms now work, is it's an AI that needs to be trained on your content. So it's reading engagement signals on all the different pieces of content that are out there, and it's determining who to show your content to. So its job is to show the right piece of content to the right person at the right time. So what we need to do as creators is we need to be very nuanced and very careful about what it is that we're putting out there, and then also looking at the data, reading that data, and making sure that people are watching our videos. That's like the most important thing. And I think people miss that. They think that they need to be really salesy in their ads, or they really need to be very polished, or they need to, have flashy graphics and stuff like that. But you actually don't really need or want super flashy stuff because we're not trying to just grab somebody's attention. We want somebody to watch a 3 to 5 minute video that actually encourages them to learn something, that we're trying to draw people into our business. And that's a big difference from somebody creating an ad that's like 10 seconds long where we're flashing a bunch of things and we're trying to sell them on something. A 3 to 5 minute video is really good for not only training that algorithm, but it's also going to help us pre-filter the people that we eventually end up retargeting. And by doing that, first of all, we could save a lot more of our ad spend because we're only advertising to the people that are interested. And then on top of that, we're training the algorithm on what a good signal should look like. And that, again, comes down to a really good watch time. So I like to do that with power content. And then what we do here is we build out something called the conveyor belt, which means that if somebody watches a certain percentage of our content, well, then they get, it's almost like an unlock. Then all of a sudden they get other content. Once they consumed a certain amount of the stuff in red, then all of a sudden they get the next stuff. And the idea with this is, again, we're only paying for the people that we want to advertise to. We're only paying to the people that are interested. They watched the 3 minutes, they watched the 5 minutes, whatever it is that you feel is worth it in your business, right? Some businesses do better with a 90-second ad. Some businesses do better with a 5-minute ad. It really depends, and it takes testing. But the idea here is that we're getting people down to our conveyor belt, and this is our injection. And this is literally where we are consistently posting, showing up for our audience, and getting in front of people. And this, honestly, is so easy to do. All you got to do is be consistent. All you got to do is make your regular posts. The idea with this is that we're just putting a little money on our content. That way we're making sure that we're showing back up for our warm audience. Because if you think about it, when we're actually getting data from our ads here, we're filling two different things, okay? We are filling, let me put it here on the side here. We are filling two types of people. So we've got our invisible list, and these are the people that we cannot see their names. We have no idea who they are. We just know through the data that we are able to gather that they're watching a certain amount of content. But then we're also creating our physical list, and those are the people that are DMing you. Those are the people that opt in and they give you their email or their phone number or whatever it is. So there's people that have a name to them and a subset of people that don't have their name to it. And really what we're doing is the same thing. All I'm trying to show is that we're building this list and we're able to show back up for those people repetitively. And Google's study shows that the average consumer watches about 7 hours of content, 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms. And why all of this matters, and I know this is like a hodgepodge of information, but if the average consumer is taking about 7 hours of content watched before they make a buying decision with you, let's say you're a course creator, or you run webinars, or you're doing even a brick and mortar business, if you need to get in front of those people for 7 hours, this is the perfect way to do it because you're able to create daily injections, daily videos of whatever it is that pushes your business forward, right? So you can literally have pieces of content that are solving different types of problems. If you run a business as a lawyer, and let's say you run, maybe you do divorce law, copyright law, injury law, and I don't know, tickets, speeding tickets, right? You can hit all the different categories of those people. That way you're talking to your full audience. And by just doing these posts over time, let's say you did a post a day or you did 3 or 4 posts a week, whatever works for you, you're able to get to that 7 hours really, really quickly because you're going to consistently show up for those people. We're literally engineering this so that you will show back up for the people that are both on your physical list and your invisible list. And that's really important. It's a really important distinction because that 7 hours of content, that 11 different touch points, if you're posting every day, you're going to hit 11 touch points really easily. And the 4 different platforms, that could literally be Meta, Messenger, Instagram, and Threads if you want it. It literally does not matter. But the idea here is that we're getting it back in front of people multiple times so that when they are ready to make a buying decision, they might not be ready today. They might not be ready tomorrow or next week or next month. But by the time you get somebody from not ready to buy to ready to buy, we're actually able to move people along this conveyor belt. So, they might not really care about you at the beginning, but at the end here, they're going to be very interested in what you have to offer. And what's super cool about this is the more people that we get onto that physical and invisible list, the more people we get onto our conveyor belt. And the more people that we can move from the first piece of content over to where they're ready to buy, that also means that there's a whole bunch of other people lined up behind also ready to buy. So it literally is like pulling people through our sales funnel. And I wanted to show this because it's really important. And you're probably already posting a lot. You might already have ads running. And the beauty of something like this, I want to make it really clear. This is something that you can augment and you can use within whatever it is that you're already running. So this is not meant to replace your sales funnel. This is meant to augment it and basically pour some gasoline on the fire.